Oh, helpful if I turn my camera on and my microphone. Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday morning, and what does that mean? Time for Life on Love. We've got a special treat for you today, too. I've got a special guest coming in who we're going to have a wonderful conversation and do some fun things. So good morning. It's Friday in the middle of December. How wild is that? I know we're all doing our best to maintain sanity and the joy and the spirit of this time of year and the celebrations that come along. And I hope and I pray, and it is my desire for all of us, that somehow we're harnessing those opportunities. That as Jeff Harrison, who his media company produces our shows on a daily basis, says, you look for that pile of manure because you know there's a pony in there. All right. Don't be afraid of the manure because we know there's a pony. Somewhere around here, there's a pony, and we're all after the pony. So that's what we're up to today. I'm so grateful to have you with me / us. And I'm excited for another opportunity to be together, to explore life, explore love, and explore life on love. And most of you may know, if you don't, Hanukkah started at sundown yesterday, Thursday evening. And so we're going to explore that a bit today, and how the that festival, that sacred experience during this time of year, we can apply the principles that are espoused during this time to apply to our lives, to find the light in the midst of the darkness. You know, it's interesting. These festivals of lights happen during the darkest times of year. So we can look at that literally. You know, I think I've shared before, the sun sets here. We live, you know, right in the shadow of a huge mountain, like right underneath it. So the sun sets here at about 10 after 4:15, and we're not even to the shortest day of the year yet. So the days are short. That means there's a lot of time in the darkness. So we can look at it literally, but also metaphorically. And during these most fascinating times, all of the ways that we are finding light in the midst of the darkness. And that's why I think this time that we're sharing together right now is so particularly potent. And what we're going to explore today with Hanukkah, we've got the menorah. We've got the menorah in the house. And my special guest is going to, well, we've got a number of treats. We're going to walk through the menorah and what that means. But we've also got some special footage that we're going to show you. So as always, you are welcome to comment, jump in, participate. We want you. We want you to be here to add your comments and your questions, and how what we're going to be discussing today particularly affects you, and how you can utilize the information that we're discussing. So it's a good day. It is Life on Love. Find that comment section. And I'm telling you, we've got a treat coming up. So if you're on here, thank you. And I invite you to pick up the phone or shoot a text or do something right now and invite one of your friends or family to jump on too. It's sure to be entertaining, illuminating, and just a lot of fun. So I'll remind you of that again too. Just pick up, say, hey, go to cslpalmdesert.org. That's what you say. Go to cslpalmdesert.org. Click on the link for today's show, Friday, December 11th, Life on Love. You'll get through, we make it easy for you, and invite somebody to participate. We're having fun today. So without further ado, I'd like to bring in my very special guest. Many of you probably already know her well. She is one of our staff ministers here at Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. Her name is Dale Olansky, the Reverend Dale Olansky. Dale, come on in. How are you doing?
I am great. I am so excited to see what is going to be happening here today, because it's always fun and always unexpected.
I am as well. I don't know if it's only happening for me, but the mic is really choppy. Can you say a couple more things?
Okay. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. It is Friday, December, what is it, the 11th today, and I'm happy to be here with all of you. Is that better?
There we go, right there. That's better. It just got better.
Hold it here.
Okay, good. So anyway, I hope everybody else heard what you said. I'm really enthused to have you here as well.
Thank you.
You are affectionately known around these parts as the rapping Jew.
I am.
And we're going to get into that. But I want to hold off on that. I want to just tease that for a little bit because I really want folks to call somebody, send a text to somebody, get somebody on the program this morning because we're having so much fun. And probably your first assessment, if you're judging a book by a cover, is Dale Olansky is the rapping Jew. What are you talking about, right?
Unexpected, really.
It's unexpected. We've got some great footage we're gonna pull from the archive. See, I can't stop laughing whenever we do this because I'm just so entertained by it.
It never grows old. I know. I still laugh at it.
Oh gosh. I was talking to somebody what's that?
No, go ahead. You go.
I was talking to somebody the other day and they were like, well, we gotta create a track for this and get Dale into the studio and make it. And I'm like, okay, well, we could, but I think there's something more precious about it being as hokey as it is.
And then Dr. Joe at the end, like totally, his reaction is part of it, right?
Oh, I love it when I laugh so hard that I just get like my cheeks start to cramp up. Anyway, how are you today, Dale? How are you? How are you? And what does Hanukkah mean to you personally?
Yeah, it's very, very personal to me because I grew up in a conservative Jewish home, and we celebrated Hanukkah with my grandma, and it was such a special time for us. And we just gathered together in our little nuclear family, and my grandma made the latkes and the meatloaf and this and that, and we lit the candles, and we opened our presents, and it was just such a warm memory for me. And so for me, that's really, in my heart, that's what Hanukkah is to me. But there's the Hanukkah story. That's a whole other thing that means something to me because it's, and what we're going to be talking about today is, I know a lot of people focus on the miracle of the light and the candles and all that stuff, but really it's about spiritual restoration. And that's why I love teaching Hanukkah every year at our center. And my rap also addresses that issue. Yeah.
Bringing levity to it as well.
That's great. Yeah. But it's really, it's such a powerful story. And this year for me, Hanukkah there's always a thread of it that I focus on each year. And this year it's different for me because this was inspired by one of your good friends, Dr. David Alexander, who did a talk last week actually about the whole Christmas season being not just about this light, but opening ourselves up to allow that light in and to be that light. And I see Hanukkah as holding the same story for people. Just to give you guys a little bit of background, Hanukkah obviously is about many eons ago when the Jewish temple was being overtaken by the Greek Syrians, and they destroyed the temple. They put their false idols in there, and then this mighty little tribe, who the odds were against them to be able to fight this army. And they did it though. They overtook this army. They took back the temple, which was absolutely destroyed. And then they were able to bring back their symbols of God. And so it's really about looking at, metaphysically, looking at what is your God? Who is your God? What are you worshiping? Are you worshiping the television, Twitter, politics, or are you worshiping? And I know we don't say worship really in Science of Mind,
but we do it all the time.
We do, yeah. And we do.
If you look at the word worship, we worship something all the time.
Yes. Yeah. And so here we go. And here's what Hanukkah begs us to ask ourselves: what are you worshiping?
Yeah.
And the answer is, if you want to bring that light into you, if you want to be that light, you've got to have that worshiping of God, or knowing who you are as a divine being. When you know that's when that light is rekindled and can radiate. So it's really about, seeing the light, finding the light, and emptying yourself out to be able to hold the light. And the temple is a great metaphor for that, because the temple was emptied out of all the false idols so that the true source of life, which is spirit, is put in its rightful place in the center of your heart, in the center of the temple, which we are. The temple is a symbol of us anyways.
Yeah.
So we put that place, that light back, we reinstate it. And that's what our spiritual rejuvenation is all about, that spiritual restoration, finding out, being that energy of spirit that you are, and living into that. So it's so perfect with what we're going through right now.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The metaphor, the metaphorical wisdom in the story is profound for right now.
Yeah.
The temple and the clearing out, the false idols, that, the all of that. And I know we're going to keep breaking that down. Spiritual, you mentioned spiritual restoration as well, and I think that's important. I've got a couple things. So for those folks that wouldn't normally use the word God, they have a connection with the spirit, they have a connection with life, but they don't go around talking about God like we do. What's a word that folks could relate to if we talk about, instead of using the word God, which unfortunately, for those of us in the ministry, has got so much baggage around it, but it's fine. Sometimes we need to pivot, and I do my best to use other words as well, so that to make it relatable to as many people as possible. What's another word for God that you would use, in this whole idea of spiritual restoration?
Yeah, I've got a few. And what's really interesting, you bring that up. I'm doing some spiritual counseling with a young person. She's in her mid-20s, and whenever I work with people who aren't in our center, because she was referred to me by somebody else. Whenever I am connecting with people who are outside of our center, I like to ask them, do you believe in a higher power, and what words resonate for you that mean that? And she had said energy. That does it for her, and love. And so those are great words. They're very powerful words, and I think it hits us in the heart. So that's a great word. And creative energy is also energy, because I know a lot of people are really, that word is real hip now. Energy, creative energy. Yep. What's your energy today? And so I think that's something that can pull people into understanding what that bigger life is. People always say they come into our center, they come into these new thought philosophies because they know there's something more than this. And the something more is that spirit or love or light or creative energy that is just everywhere, that's beyond words, really. Well,
and that whole idea of energy force, creative energy, George Lucas touched billions of people's lives based on the idea of that. It's the same idea. So we are an energy, and it's an energy that binds us together as well. Exactly. When we talk about our principle of oneness, we talk about energy, and it's how we're connected, which I think is an important time as well. Not to make it too superficial, but it actually, there's a depth that happens during this time of year that generally we find people being kinder to each other. So something happens during this time of year as well, where there's more charity. There can be more kindness. Sometimes there can be more stress, and there certainly can be grief and loneliness as well. And what I also find is that there is a greater connection with each other. That to me is a substitute for the word God as well. Just that connection that we experience with each other.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And, there's something, we talk, the recognition step of prayer to me is like the most powerful part of our whole prayer, because we're recognizing what you're just talking about, connection. We're recognizing love. And, I know Ernest Holmes and many other people say, when whatever you're recognizing and focusing on expands. Yeah. And so this time of year, there's so much in our face about love and coming together and oneness and family and what's really important. And when we're all focusing on that, I think it's cracking our hearts open to be in that flow, because it feels so much better than hate and divisiveness. That gets old, and it's so toxic, right? And we've had a lot of it.
Toxic, taxing, all of it. Nobody wants to experience it. Sometimes we just I think oftentimes we just don't have another solution. We don't have an alternative that we've been exposed to. Because I just think of recently in the last couple of months, the times when I've gotten to altercations with somebody. Seriously, and I think I've shared this. I remove myself from the situation, and this might sound funny to everybody, but I cry for a while because it actually breaks my heart. I'm outside of who I really want to be. And so, Little insight into Charles Hall there. I do cry from time to time. It's all right to cry.
It's healthy to cry.
Who was that song? Do you know It's All Right to Cry? Was that Free to Be You and Me? God,
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, Mom, are you watching? Weigh in, Mom.
I love Free to Be You and Me, by the way. I have it like downloaded in my music because it's just, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great.
Let's see. So, please, if you haven't called somebody or sent them a text in just a couple of minutes, we're gonna get to the high point of the show. We haven't even gotten there yet, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, beautiful people. We're gonna get there. So we're still gonna talk about the menorah and what it means for all of us. And you know, one of the things that's important to me too, Dale, is that we continue to break down the barriers between sects, organized religions. You know, and start and continue to look at how beautiful it is in all of the ways that we worship, that we celebrate universal presence, energy, God, and that it can be a unifying thing rather than something that's divisive. And that's always felt like a personal mission of mine. You know, I've been exposed to different religions all my life, raised, you know, Catholic and also in Science of Mind. What's now Centers for Spiritual Living, but the teachings of Science of Mind, but I've made a point to expose myself to so many different things. And there is a unifying principle. All of them, you know, at the bottom line, it's somehow telling a tale of the human condition in light of universal presence, universal energy. What's your take on that?
I love what you're talking about. I studied Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung when I was in my college days, and I still do a little exploring, but what you're talking about is so beautiful because there are these universal stories and religions tell these stories, and they're really important for our psyche and for our emotional well-being. And I think part of what's going on in our world right now, in my perspective, is that we're kind of spiritually bankrupt right now because these stories aren't being told, because people are turning away from religion, but they're so rich and yummy. Like, look at what we looked at with Hanukkah just now. I mean, nobody knows that about Hanukkah. It's usually about the lights. But I mean, Buddhism, Christianity, there's so much good stuff. Islam, there's gems and nuggets for all of us because it is universal wisdom. It isn't just for those sects. It's for all humanity. It's for all. They were created for all humanity, and there's stories for us about our spirituality and our growth. And it's so I love that our center is going to be expanding into bringing all of these great stories in for all of us to learn from and to see the commonality and to see what we can see about our own self and our own journeys through life through these religious stories. They're so wonderful, and they hit us hard. They hit us in the center because they're part of our psyche. Yeah.
And what I think it's important for folks to understand too is that when we talk about religions, whether organized, disorganized, whatever they might be, it's an insight by a person or a group of people that had some sort of insight, something happened, and then they got organized around it with conviction. And I think the important takeaway for that is that all of us have that capacity, whether it be our family unit, you know, our center, our community, our basketball team, you know, down at the rec center, you know, your arts and crafts club, whatever it might be, is that we have insight and something happens to us where we're illuminated somehow. We have an idea, a new thought, a new idea. And then part of that is because it is so personal is that there's conviction. We have conviction about it. And I think that's I want to continue to put out the clarion call for all of us that we can be convinced on behalf of a world that works for all, and taking care of each other and continuing to break down, you know, a lot of these barriers that create otherness into, you know, if we're just exposed to an idea about goodness and loving kindness and charity and sharing and love and these types of things, it will transform our lives and make this journey a lot easier. A lot easier. So, folks, we're getting to that time. Krista, do we have it queued up? Dale, are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to show this video and then we're going to unpack it and we're going to keep talking. We still got to get into the menorah and some other things. But ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing pleasure, this is Dale Olansky, the Rapping Jew. Here we go, Krista.
I don't think the sound's on.
We need some audio there, yep. Okay. We can bring it down till we get that audio fix adjusted, Krista, huh?
Yeah, you got to be able to.
Well, yeah, that's the
That's my part.
Nah. So far, the star in that is the woman that got up and walked down the aisle.
All right.
All right.
Where is
Krista, let us know when you've got it pulled up. That's actually great, though. Okay, you have a few more minutes now. Call somebody, text somebody, get them on the program. I guarantee you're not going to want to miss this.
I know. So. You're just not.
Okay, here we go. Krista's got it. Not quite there, Krista.
No sound.
All right.
Three's a charm, right?
Three's a charm. We'll get there.
Oh my God.
So let's just dive in here. If we need to come back to it, we will.
Sure.
What is this? Talk to us about it. And how is it meaningful for the Jewish community, but how can it be meaningful for all of us as well?
Okay, one of the most salient parts, and I think one of the most commonly known parts of the Hanukkah story is the miracle of oil, of the light. When after the destruction of the temple and the Jews reclaimed it, there was only enough oil to burn for one night. But the miracle is it burned for 8 nights. And so the menorah is symbolic of that. And so that's why there's 8 nights of Hanukkah. So that we light each night when we gather around and we celebrate each night of Hanukkah, we light a candle for each successive night. So the first night, and there's a shamash, which is the head candle. So that's what that center candle, that center thing is. And so you light the first night, and then the second night you have 2 candles. The third night you've got 3 candles, and so on and so forth. So it's really just that reminder of the miracles that happen through, and we would say the miracles that happen when we are knowing of the presence of God that we are, or the presence of the creative energy, and just something to quantum physics is really big right now, and we talk a lot about possibilities and science of mind. Oh, hi Lisa, happy Hanukkah. We talk a lot about possibilities that can happen in life when we think that, we limit our thought and we think, well, that can't happen or that's never happened. So our thought stays limited. But this idea of possibilities, which is what the menorah is all about. They thought it was only going to burn for one night. It's 8 nights. The possibility was there and they had their faith, and lo and behold, that oil lasted for way longer than they thought. And so, so
that is the miracle of the oil then. Sometimes we talk about miracles and it's like something that's happening out there and we can't personally relate to it. So that is if we take it out of the idea of a miracle or something that's not, happens by divine providence, we're actually talking about something that can be applied to our human experience. So, and you mentioned the word faith just now.
Yeah, and that's what is. I mean, I know Ernest Holmes really teaches about a miracle is something that's very normal. It's our belief that something can't happen, and then it does happen, where we say, "Wow, that was a miracle." But we just didn't realize that the possibility existed because we were limited in thought. But miracles happen. I mean, I don't want to call them miracles, but the unexpected, like my rapping Jew. That was a miracle. I'm telling you, that was a Hanukkah miracle.
Well, I'll tell you what, that gift keeps on giving, at least as far as I'm concerned too. So that oil is still burning, Dale.
That oil is, but yeah, so it's about having that faith, and that's what and the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament, is filled with these stories of quote unquote miracles, but the miracles happen because there's some faith. There's some faith that says, well, this is possible. And by knowing of the presence of spirit or creative energy or infinite possibilities, that allows that gives an opening for those miracles or that unexpected good to come into your life. So it's very personal. It's very personal. Yeah.
Yep. And I always come back to what Albert Einstein said: either everything is a miracle or nothing is a miracle. Absolutely. And I just think that's just so insightful. It's a profound thought.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just, I know when I look at, I'm very present to like gratitude and all that stuff, and you are too as well. But I just think even just the human body can be seen as a miracle. My God, it's amazing. I mean,
Yes.
everything in this world is just, it's just off the charts amazing. When we can be present to that, then we see more of that and we experience more of that in our everyday life.
So this idea of miracles that are or new possibility. Let's unpack that for folks that are isolated right now.
Sure.
Let's unpack it for folks that have lost their jobs or their businesses have closed up. I would, in the instances of my life when I felt the most lost, when I felt lost, and I went through a solid 3-year period of that, what I wanted to experience most was a new possibility, a new light somehow, something, and it eventually came along, and that's what got me here. I think that story's been told, enough now. But it's still, that's my miracle story. What do we do to stay open to possibility? I mean, I've certainly got ideas, but you're my guest, so I'm putting it on you right now. Thank you very much. That's the one thing that could be like a miracle for somebody is just a new idea, a new possibility, which for me brings me back to spiritual practice. We talk about one of the first things you said was spiritual restoration. That it's a time of spiritual restoration.
Yeah.
And I think as long as we're worshiping all of the negativity that's happening right now,
yep,
we're not open to a new possibility. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that when we start actually just closing our eyes for 30 seconds and taking 30 seconds worth of deep breaths can open a portal or a door into just a new idea or a new thought.
Yeah, I love that. And, that's something that a person in our line of work teaches constantly to people. So the thing about that is with possibilities, and I know it's about focus. Am I going to focus on that which has fallen apart? Am I going to focus on the wreckage of the temple to draw the Hanukkah story? Am I going to look at all of the broken, the tables that are broken and the lights that are broken and the smashed in windows? Or am I going to look at that Hanukkah light, that light that's burning for 8 days? That's what I'm going to look at. And as I know through the power of focus, if I'm focusing on the light, then more things that reflect that light are going to come in, not more wreckage. Mm-hmm. And so for people who are, I know, I don't want to do spiritual bypass on anybody, but honestly, if we're going to keep looking at the negative and saying all this stuff is falling apart, we're not giving space or bringing an attractive energy to something beyond, something better, something new. And I just want to tell you people this, you don't have to figure out what that's going to look like. You do not have to have all the answers. Just know that it's possible, and you start to open the door for that to come into your life. Because I know a lot of people get frustrated because they're like, well, I don't know what to do and I don't know what to create and da-da-da. Don't just stop. Just be open. And the answers just start to, probably for you and your experience, things just started being revealed. You just relaxed to the flow, stayed positive, had your face strong, and just let the universe bring it forth for you. So it's something that's really got to be loosened up in your consciousness so that you can bring it in.
And pay attention to the clues or the invitations that exist. Like my invitation was a simple email from somebody that I said in that moment of strength, faith, whatever it was, I'm going to respond to this email and take that meeting. And then things started going from there. Whereas if I was really just, just Eeyore, which I was 90% of the time, I was just Eeyore. And I'm not, it sucks. But that moment where I paid attention and I said, there's a door that's cracked open right here. Let me open it and walk through it and see what happens is what started it. And I think there's something there to that too. Just a cracked door or a cracked window can open us to a new room.
Yeah, I think people that's really so important because people think it's got to be this gigantic, everything shifts in a minute and you're in your new life. It starts with that cracked door. Absolutely. And the light shines in and then it just unfolds beautifully.
Yeah. You can only see that the door is cracked because there's a distinction. There's light there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love that. It's so prevalent right now. And we do have to, I love that you just kind of said, something, you had an invitation and you just said yes. I think it's so important for people, like you said, to just, where's something you can say yes to that's different, and don't hang on to things needing to look the same as they've always looked, because life is about evolving and expanding and newness. That's what we're wired for. We're really not wired for the same old thing. And this opportunity that's being presented to us at this time is to shift ourselves into having a better life and to move into something new that really, I think people are going to find out it's more resonant to their heart and what they really want to experience in life. This is just a little bit of a rough journey to that, but we're definitely being called to restore our lives to a new level.
Absolutely.
And collectively,
Yes.
globally. Yeah.
Yep. Krista, how are we doing with the video?
The rapper Jewish.
The rapping Jew. Okay, do we have it?
Nope.
We still can't hear it, Krista. Well, this is
building it up.
Did we do a test in our pregame?
Yeah, and we heard it.
And it worked? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not hearing it, I'm not hearing it. So it's not playing any volume. Okay.
Oh wait, here we go.
We're gonna do it again. The rapping Jew.
Okay, we're gonna just know it. We're gonna know it. We're gonna know it. Here it comes.
We are intending it into place.
Let's go. Come on, rapping Jew, do your thing.
Shall we? Well, every year I come up here and I do the Hanukkah story for you, and I give you a little metaphysical interpretation. And this year I really needed to change. Shall we?
Oh, what happened?
Shall we? Well, every year I come up here and I do the Hanukkah story for you, and I give you a little metaphysical interpretation. And this year I really needed to change it up a little bit. And so I decided to get very creative. And this year I'm going to be telling you the Hanukkah story via rap. And this is my first rap. So I've got my words here. I got the band. Let's hit it. Here's a little story about Judah Maccabee, a courageous Jewish warrior from the 2nd century. Can we slow down the tempo a little bit? I got it. That was too fast. I got a lot of words. And perfect. Thank you. You guys are so great. Here's a little story about Judah Maccabee, a courageous Jewish warrior from the 2nd century. Judah and his rebels had really had enough of the Greek armies take over and destroying all their stuff.
Oh, what happened?
What's going on?
I don't know. It went away.
We are having some technical with all my build up for this. Hey, this is life. This is life in 2020. I mean, I'm building this thing up. Oh, Krista, we know you're doing your best over there. I know. Well, we've got a connection problem. For those of you that don't know, and I think you do, Krista produces our Friday show from Manila in the Philippines, and she's and she's just a lovely young woman. We're grateful to have her on the team. Sometimes we just have some technical difficulties that happens from time to time. So Judah Mac. So what was the first couple lines? Let's just unpack those first couple lines until we get the whole thing. So what's it start? Why did you decide to start there in the?
Well, being the teacher that I am, we must start the story with the proper time period that we're entering into, and just to set it up before we actually begin the details of the story. So I start out. What do I say? Here's a little story about Judah Maccabee and a courageous Jewish warrior from the 2nd century. So he was the leader of this tribe, and they were a ragtag. I think I say that in the rap. They were just this ragtag collection of Jewish warriors who had had enough of an occupation in their country. And
that's,
you know,
Jesus' story as well,
right? See, there's so much
told again. Yeah,
it's all so connected, and I really. a lot of people who are Jewish who come to our center, and I get this. It's really, there's a challenge in accepting, you know, the Christianity and stuff like that, because a lot of us carry a lot of I'm going to call it Jesus baggage, and I got it in my house a lot too. And I always really loved Jesus because I thought he. I mean, what a man, right? So he was always someone, in his story was always something meaningful. But
we can really thank Paul for Christianity.
Oh, okay. And he was, Paul's
letter to the Corinthians, Paul's letter to, I mean, he was the missionary.
Yeah.
Jesus was just, you know, doing his thing.
He was just doing his but yeah, the stories, they're all, and I love how it's relevant to our lives today, how all of these stories about, you know, the underdog rising up, standing in the spiritual strength and power, and facilitating change for the better. I mean, I see that a lot right now in our world, that we really are in a place where there's so many people trying to express and rise up in that love, and to bring everybody together in love. And it's struggly right now. I mean, there's a lot of struggle, but I mean, we look at story, and here's the power of the story, right? The power of the myth with the Bible myths. And you were talking about Star Wars. That's a current, you know, I see it as on equal standing with the stories of the Bible, you know, the good over evil, the force is with you, you know, and it's just, it's all saying the same thing. It really,
there's only a couple stories. The way I understand it, there's only a couple stories that can be told. You know, there's the tragedy and the, you know, and the victory. And I think Joseph Campbell talks a little bit about that too, if I'm correct.
The hero's journey. It's in like every story, the hero's journey.
Every story.
And
that too is so appropriate for right now, that we can be, if we choose to be, the hero of our own life.
Yep.
In the face of danger, in the face of obstacles, in the face of all of the challenges that are before us. Who doesn't love the story of the hero, the heroine? You know, that moment of triumph.
Yeah.
When it's, you know, I cry all the time at that point in the movie. You know, it's like,
yeah, right. I know, it's like it happened again. Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you point that out. We are the hero. We are. Everybody is a hero in their life. And to me, that also gives me faith in the trials that I might walk through in my life, you know, is that, well, I know the hero's journey. I know that I am just I'm in a story right now, and I know how the end is. I know the end is good prevails, love prevails. And so I don't need to fret or worry as I go through these different parts of the story, because I know that light of spirit is within me, and it is coming through every stage of this journey I'm on right now. And I know a lot of people have a lot on their plate right now.
Yep.
And remember, you're on a hero's journey, and the end of this story is wonderful. Just keep following the path that you're on.
Yep.
But it's bringing that if what we call, whatever that higher source of power is, whether you call it God, spirit, infinite intelligence, love, creative energy, the power of that in you and in your life, and working it, to recognize it, gives it the power to really take you to your place.
Yes. And it's not just talk. It's actually, you know, some things it's cliche. They kind of seem like empty calories because we talk about them so often. Like, for example, right now, the hero's journey, and you are your own hero. But it's true. But that's it. You are the place where life is happening. Eddie Watkins Jr. has a song called, I don't know, You Are the Place Where God Shows Up. Forgive me, Eddie, if that's not the actual title of it. But the chorus is basically, I'm the place where God lives. You are the place where God lives. We are the place where God shows up. And the music is just phenomenal. But that's it. At the end of the day, that's it. Is that you and I both have responsibility for our lives to actually be the hero if we want to be, to see the solution, to see the possibility if we want to. Krista, how are we doing? Dare I ask? Should we give it another go?
We got to try again. The possibility.
We had it going. We need those mice in there to run a little faster.
Oh,
here we go. Now Chris is here.
Shall we?
It's working.
Well, every year I come up here and I do the Hanukkah story for you, and I give you a little metaphysical interpretation. And this year I really needed to change it up a little bit, and so I decided to get very creative. And this year I'm going to be telling you the Hanukkah story via rap. And this is my first rap. So I've got my words here. I got the band. Let's hit it.
Is it choppy?
I hear it fine.
Oh, you do? Okay, good, good.
Here's a little story about Judah Maccabee, a courageous Jewish warrior from the 2nd century. Can we slow down the tempo a little bit? I got it. That was too fast. I got
Okay, you are hearing it fine, Dale?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
You guys are so great. Here's a little story about Judah Maccabee, a courageous Jewish warrior from the 2nd century. Judah and his rebels had really had enough of the Greek armies take over and destroying all their stuff. I got a career, don't I? If ministry doesn't work out, I'll be a Jewish rapper. All right, let's go on with the story. He led this ragtag army against his mighty foe, but God was in their corner, so the Greek army did go. The temple was a shambles, false idols everywhere. The Maccabees did clean up, Adonai was everywhere. Adonai means God. To purify the temple required holy light, but there was enough oil to last throughout the night. But a miracle did happen. The light burned for 8 days. The temple was restored, and the Maccabees did praise.
I'm crying. I'm crying right now.
Really rough. There's a power that is within you that I screwed that one up. Let's try that one again. It's really important. The moral of the story is when life gets really rough, there's a power that's within you that makes you really tough. That power is God Almighty. It will never let you down. You are its expression, and your life can turn around. Oh, thank you.
Oh, standing out. I love it. Yeah.
Let it roll, Krista. Let it keep.
He had no idea what I was going to do.
That is so far out of your comfort zone.
Isn't it? I know. Totally.
I mean, it was
Totally.
like, I'm thinking, wow, that was amazing. That's here for Dale, everybody.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You did it. Thank you, Krista.
Oh, thank you, Krista. I can't.
you
Do I look like my eyes are watering? Oh,
Right.
I love that. So what? I love it. Oh, the Jewish rapper. What? So what inspired you to do that then? Why did you get outside of your comfort zone to do that? To bring that message?
I think in that year, like maybe in May, we had, oh God, what's her name? She's so powerful. She's oh shoot, I can't remember her name, darn it. She's a New Thought artist, singer, and you probably know her. She's got a phenomenal voice, and she's Jewish as well. And she did a rap at our center. And I think that planted the seed. But as we were getting into, I saw December coming up, and I knew I was going to be asked to do my talk. I was just like, I don't want to do the whole, story. And something just kind of said, let's try something way different. And so I started writing words for rap, and it was like, I could do this. And I just took, I was in ministerial training, and Dr. James, who was our teacher, he really insists that you be as creative as possible. So I was in that, I was really being stoked in that. And so I thought, I'm going to just go ahead and dive in.
Love it.
And it was really fun. Yeah. And I was very nervous, and I didn't know how it was going to come off. And I made mistakes, and it didn't even matter. But it was a really, it was a good demonstration of what can happen when you take a risk and go outside of your norm. It was to me, that was the greatest story I told that day, besides the Hanukkah story.
Yeah. No, it's, and that is a testimony to that. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
What, as we start to wrap things up here, what do you want to leave? Create your own hero's journey. That's right, Timid Newbie. As we start to wrap up here, what do you want to leave folks with regarding Hanukkah, the importance of it, how we can apply it? Just, a couple paragraphs to summarize how each of us can make this time, Jewish or not, these next 8 days as meaningful as possible?
Well, I think it's really important. One thing is to look at your life, look at the lives of others whose lives have fallen apart, and notice how things come back together. And so I want you to be very present to all the different stories in our world, the stories that are told through different religions, the story of the return and the restoration of life through knowing whatever that higher power is to you, trusting in that and its ability to bring your life back to a place where everything is just working perfectly. And so I encourage you to look at yourself and to see that, and just to remember that, first of all, you are not alone. Second of all, you are an expression of this energy, of this power. It is every part of you. It keeps your body functioning. It's in your heart. So surrender to that and let it lead you. And just know that, we're all in this together and we all are heroes. And to start to look at yourself a little bit differently and look at your life as something that isn't static, that is continually unfolding. And even though you might be in a temple where there's a lot of broken things around you, there is a power inside of you that knows how to clean it up, get things back in order, and to create an even better life for yourself. So I just want to give you that, and to develop and deepen that faith, because it's there. You can't hide from that power. It is everywhere, and it is in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hop on that, Dale. That's all of us have had times in our lives where we look around and things appear to be in shambles. The challenges of our lives, whatever they might be, and they're different for every one of us. So we can't look at somebody else and say they're better or they're worse. They are what they are. What's important is our relationship to our own life and our capacity to see possibility and see potential, and then move diligently, even in small steps. Like I said, 30 seconds a day, quiet everything down and just do 30 seconds worth of deep breaths and see what happens there. So I'm focused on the good, David. That's right, my friend. We continue to be so grateful for your financial contributions to our center and all the ways that it sustains us and supports us in our ongoing offerings to contribute to your life and to make a world that works for all. We will continue to be committed to that, whether we're virtual or in person. And things are happening. We're going to be back together soon. It's going to happen. We see some light at the end of that tunnel right now. Things are happening. But also there is such a power and a magnificence in human touch, but also in heart touch and the virtual touch. And that's what we've got going right now. So our intention and prayer is always that you feel the heart touch that we're offering. That connection that we talked about, that unifying energy force that we're in, and know that your financial contributions to our center are transformed into that heart touch. It's just one energy. It's the same thing. So we're not just exclusively one thing. We give hugs. We are charitable. We share gifts, and we also circulate our financial good. So we continue to be grateful for that through PayPal, through the text. I know Krista can throw the text line up there, through our website, our mailing address, our phone number. Call in and donate through the center. 346-760-346-4649 to call and get the information here at the center. So we're grateful for you. I know Dale's grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. It's so great to be on the team with you, Dale, and everything that we're up to here at the center, to continue. And I want you to know, gang, this is what I really want you to know. It's corny, but it just popped into my head. Bryan Adams said it. He sang it one time. Everything we do it for you. That's what we're up to here. It's true. Everything we do it for you. Give me a moment of corniness, okay? Just give me a moment to be a cornball and say that. But it's true. When a line is captured and it says what's so, it's what's so. So we're loving you. Thank you so much for contributing. Thank you, Dale. Have an awesome weekend. See you when I see you.
Yeah.
And to everybody, whether you're Jewish or not, you can keep time with the light during these next 8 days, knowing that you can move through this time with intention, with power, and have a miracle show up in your life. You know what I'm excited about, Dale? Next Friday, getting with everybody and hearing the miracles that showed up for them.
Ooh, I like that. And,
yeah, that's
and
8 days.
that is. And let's remind people, miracles can be small, big. They come in all sizes, just like Hanukkah gifts and Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Be mindful of them. Yeah. Even if you wake up one morning feeling so much better than you ever have, that's a miracle.
Yep. Look for the good. Look for the good.
Yep.
Another word for miracle is good. Find your good. All right. Have an extraordinary weekend. This is Life on Love. Invite somebody next Friday. We want to continue to grow this program and invite people to subscribe to our YouTube page where you might be watching this right now. And just to find another way to participate with our center and everything that we're up to. Dale, once again, thank you so much. Krista in the Swing Point Media producers booth, all the way from Manila in the Philippines. Grateful for both of you. And remember to make today best day ever. Peace and love. We're out of here.